We are recording.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're recording, so
Trent,
behave.
Get it together, okay?
Get it together.
Get it together, Trent. I feel like we're really like me and Trent are like really like we're like really interviewing. We're like on the newscast right now.
Right.
And welcome this morning at 9:38 a.m.
What's up, guys?
My name is Lea. Good.
Period.
You guys,
Hi, we're recording.
we're pretending like there's music. Come on, Corina, get it.
Turn up is real today between the sheets.
Ma'am, the struggle is real, right?
It's okay.
The struggle, persistence, perseverance, it is a real thing when
Yes.
you are trying to get your stuff together of setting up a dang podcast. Holy shit. My name is Lea.
Yes.
And I am a God-fearing, action-taking, money-making, manifesting queen.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
this is Between the Sheets with Lea.
Yes. Yes.
What's up?
I like how you did that, Leah. I like how you did that.
My co-host Whitney's in the house.
WHITNEY, period, poos. Hi. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. This is our last podcast of the year.
Yes, this is.
I was thinking about that this morning when I woke up and I was doing my post, and I was like, this is our last podcast of the year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I think this is episode 20.
Yes. Yes.
I think this is episode 20.
And we have our other co-host.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to In Between Those Sheets with Lea Flores and Whitney.
What's with the line?
I don't know.
That's how I get in between my sheets.
You're supposed to
You
do
gotta
like
get in
this.
between.
Between the sheets with Jesus.
You keep
Look, this
drawing
is me
this line.
slicing the page, flipping it up, and then I get in between the crack of my sheets.
All right. We love it. We love it. Welcome back. Welcome back. And we have a special guest here today.
do.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Corina, and I am new to Colorado, so thank you for having me here.
Yes.
Welcome.
Very excited to have Corina here because
Yes.
she just leave it like this.
I was going to ask her a question because you said you're new to Colorado. Where are you from?
I'm from Bakersfield, California.
What?
Yeah.
Bakersfield.
All right, Bakersfield in the house.
Yes, so we got some Cali girls in the house
Yes.
today. And I am very inspired by Corina. She is a boss
Yes.
of bosses. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to bring her on, because her story is beautiful, not just the business side, but her life story. And I think that it can inspire many. So I just wanted to bring her on and kind of let our audience get to know her because she is new to
Yes.
Colorado Springs and because she has a new salon. So let me just kind of back up first before we get deep into Between the Sheets.
Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up.
Tell me about what you do.
So I am a cosmetologist. I am an entrepreneur, a hustler, and I own multiple businesses. Right now, I own businesses in California, and I just opened up a salon and boutique here in Colorado.
And like,
Nice.
how long have you been in Colorado?
Like living in Colorado
Because you've been
for
back and
about
forth.
a month and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've been going back and forth for about 5 months now.
So
Back
you
and forth.
upped and left your home in California, came here, new move, new place, and decided, okay, I'm going to open up a salon, and just like this,
Yes.
it's
Oh, yeah.
open, it's running.
You were like,
Yes.
Colorado needs me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What made you eyeball Colorado, though? Why not somewhere else?
Right.
Well, okay, so I have family that lives here, and I never visited. I don't know, I think it was a pride thing. Like, I'm not going to Colorado. They want us to go over there. But my husband has a best friend that lives in Monument, and they asked us to visit. So we visited, and we fell in love, and we kept coming back. As tourists, of course, you know, you go and see Garden of the Gods
right.
and Pikes Peak, all that stuff. And so I told my husband, well, let's just go as regular people living an everyday life. So we went, we didn't do any touristy things. We just stayed in the house and went for a walk, just normal everyday things. And we felt at home. It was the craziest feeling ever because I grew up in Bakersfield. All my family's there. I have 10 aunts and uncles. I have all my cousins and my church family. And I remember telling my husband, don't ever try to get me out of here. This is my home.
Don't make me try to leave.
We got married. I had a salon. I had a spa. I had an education center. I had a boutique. I had all these things going on. And we fell in love with Colorado and everything became unnecessary. And that
love
was
that.
crazy. There was a piece about Colorado And if you've never been to California, the pace of life there is very fast. You got to fill your day up with busyness. And coming here, I got lost in my thoughts, and that was so cool. And I felt peace. I saw God's beauty, and I was able to appreciate what was around me and not trying to just hustle. Not that the hustle's wrong. I love the hustle, but to be able to step away and take that break. So we started coming here to Colorado, and I told my husband, like, what do you think about moving here? And he looked at me like I was crazy, because he knows how much I love my family and I love where I live. And so he said, well, see how you do with clientele. Right. So I started coming once a month for a week and promoting myself on social media. You've seen me post on social media.
She like was here, and all of a sudden, so, there's the Facebook forum, and there's all of these different networking groups, and I'm, scrolling, and, you see all of these things, because I'll see that, I'm looking for this, or, hi, I'm this. And then all of a sudden I see North Springs Mama. My name is Corina. And I'm like, damn.
Who's this lady?
She's already on there. Like, she's already she's putting herself out there.
Yeah. So I started coming once a month for a week, building my clientele. I was super busy. And then my husband, after like 3 months, my husband said, well, let me apply for a job. So he applied for a job. He got a job offer immediately. Wow. And we were just almost like testing things out. Like, okay, God, if this is what you want, let me put my house up for sale. We put our house up for sale. It gets sold in 2 days. Wow. Or it gets sold in 2 days. And things just started coming up just a little bit too easy. It was a little freaky, because I know God controls everything. Like, he just moves in mysterious ways. But this was too easy. We almost felt like we didn't deserve it. So that was what was really crazy. But speaking of North Springs Mamas Without the Drama, one of the requirements to join that group is
got to be up north.
You have to be a mom.
Oh.
And so I messaged them. I messaged the person who was in charge, and I said, I'm trying to build my business. I'm not a mom because I can't have kids, but I have 8 nieces and nephews. I have 2 dogs.
I'm a mama bear.
And my clientele are mamas. I love to cater to the moms, because moms forget about themselves, and they approved me. So
that's
why
beautiful. I'm on there. Shout out to that page.
I mean, they approved me too, and I'm not part of the North. I was like, I do business with North girls.
Yes.
One of my biggest takeaways from everything you just said is, look, all you Bakersfield Californians, if you're looking for a change of pace, you want something new, come on out to Colorado Springs, baby. We got love for you. We'll take care of you.
No, don't invite more. Look at Lea.
Come on in.
I understand.
Don't you know there's a no bacon sign on Colorado?
I need more people to make laugh, okay? Come on.
He's made for the big city. He's made for the big city.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. This is his interview.
Yeah. Oh. We were like, okay, dude, say something funny. Say something funny. I watched a comedian the other day, and they said something about that. They said, he said, I don't know if it was Kevin Hart. He said, why? He goes, because you're a comedian, you're on the street. He goes, why all of a sudden say something funny? He was like, I ain't working, bitch.
Exactly. No, exactly. It would be no different.
Right.
It'd be no different if you saw an exotic dancer on the street and she told you she was an exotic dancer.
Start dancing, bitch.
Yeah, let me see something.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Or even as a hairdresser.
Right.
Once
do my hair.
They're like, oh, I want to get this done to my hair. Oh, is this a consultation?
Right. These are charged for that.
Oh, what would you do with this? And yes, and,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, all right. So you're here in Colorado, and I want to take it back just because a little bit behind the scenes is that you started up with a salon here, and no shade, but you started here, and very quickly you were busy gaining clientele, and there was kind of a...
And the bitch asked me to leave.
Okay. So this is real raw and authentic.
Any type of competition is good competition.
No, I'm just kidding. I love the salon owner.
Yeah.
That I was at. She actually, I told her, like, I'm forever grateful, but she asked me to leave, and I never really understood why, except for I was busy and I charged too much. So I brought my California prices.
Hello.
And I actually brought them up here. So I don't know. But
and you're still getting paid.
Sometimes people are threatened.
Yeah. So I don't want to make assumptions as to why, because I do like her and she was good to me. But it was God. Yeah. Because I had made the decision to not be a salon owner anymore, even though my California clients were telling me I was crazy and you're meant to be a salon owner. And that pushed me to open up my own salon.
It's crazy because I'm not going to call her a hater specifically. But what I find so interesting, and this is the way that I work. I don't know if this is the way that many work, but this is the way that I work. If you tell me that I can, I'm going to show you that I will.
Oh, of course.
And I think that in itself, it gives us so much drive and so much oomph and push to be able to like just do, you know what I mean? And if not even just for them, it's for yourself. Like, wait, are you telling me I can't? Like, yes, I can.
You don't think I can do that?
Yes.
Oh, watch.
And I don't think it's a pride issue. I think it's just a drive in us.
Yes.
Not just to prove people wrong because we're prideful, but because we know our worth. We know we're good at what we do.
Yes.
And I know that I'm good at opening up a business and helping other people get their businesses started. And I opened up a salon right next to her.
Yeah.
Like it literally one door over. And I know
I like
it's gonna
that.
be I know it's gonna be
That charged me up.
It was what was available. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
It was what was
It became available.
Right.
Yeah, it was just another one of
It
those
is the
God.
time it was
Yeah,
supposed
it is.
Hello. That's exactly what it is. That was God.
It is.
Yeah, it's just another opening where I think in her journey, just from hearing some of her story behind the scenes, I was like, wow, like, so you're able to get into this spot and it just opened up for you and all of these things are happening. I mean, how can you deny that? You know, how can you deny that? So, okay. All right. So tell me about your business. Why did you start it?
The one here or in California?
When you first started, what was your why?
Okay, so when I was in kindergarten, my mom bought me this book on makeup and contouring, and it had the word cosmetology on it. Now, I couldn't read that word, so I asked her, what is this word? What is this? I love all like how to make the face look this shape and all, and she told me cosmetology. And I learned the word, and I told her I want to be a cosmetology instead of cosmetologist when I grow up. And that was my drive. And so growing up, I did people's hair, did makeup. Anybody who wanted a pedicure, manicure, that's what I would do. And I would make my money and buy myself my own makeup and stuff doing that. I was a kid, like 18 years old. And when I turned 20-something years old, I was working at a salon. I had just gotten my license. It immediately became too small for me, and I went to another salon, and I hated it because they were using my product. And so I started scoping out other salons, and the owner of the salon I was currently working at found out and then gave me an ultimatum and said, you either sign a 1-year contract or you leave this week. So I remember driving downtown Bakersfield and praying, God, help me find a salon. I went to a couple salons. I didn't like the owners. I just didn't like them. And I remember seeing this house for rent. It was a house downtown Bakersfield. Now, if you're not familiar with downtown Bakersfield, a lot of the houses are businesses. Right. So I don't know if that's done around here, but I saw it for rent and I went inside. It was ugly. Carpet, walls were ugly white. It needed so much work. And I could literally see my salon though. I could see exactly what I was going to do. It was the craziest thing. And so my then business partner and I just ripped everything out. We had like $300 in the bank and we started hustling and making money. Eventually she stopped working with me because she got pregnant and just things just didn't work out. But I had that salon for 7 years. I built a team of, I think at one point we had 12 people. Wow. And one of the stylists there is now the new owner of that salon. And she started out part-time, which was crazy. And I remember being a part of her journey of her becoming a full-time stylist and then now being the owner of it. So I had that for 7 years. I just sold it a few months ago. And that was hard for me, but it was really cool, like seeing this is what circle. Yeah, this was the full circle. So that was the beginning of
your journey with cosmetology.
Yep.
The first time I heard cosmetology, I was in high school and I was dating this girl who was going to that Tony and Guy school by Whitefield off of Main Street. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But I never heard that word, and she was like, "Oh, hey, so I go to cosmetology school," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's dope." I'm telling all my boys, "Yo, I'm dating this girl, man. She's trying to be an astronaut. Yo, she's super smart."
Cosmos.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Cosmos.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Oh my god.
True story. Well, I feel District 3, their education system.
Oh my god.
I love Whitefield
I
School
cannot.
District.
Look
If I hit this camera again,
If you hit that camera one more time,
I'm sorry.
I am going to
Alright.
karate chop your neck across this
Will
desk.
you double check
anim-
it for us, producer?
Please.
Will you
I'm
double
sorry,
check it
Chris.
for us?
It
I'm,
still
I'm
looks fine,
animated.
though.
I talk with my hands.
It still looks
He's
good.
like,
Yeah.
It still looks good.
I'm sorry.
One more knock, you're gonna knock her out. Of the
I'm gonna laugh.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
So I love that. So you built your business. You had a dream. You went after your dream, and you made things work. So of course, I too believe that with the help of God, everything is possible, and I know that you believe that, and really continue in that with your everyday life. So, how has that changed for you throughout the years? Like, has it changed for you? Has your why changed? Has your drive changed? Has your just in general?
I feel like it's still, my drive is still the same. I am in a process right now, in a journey right now, because my mentality of life and just getting older, things are changing, but my drive for the beauty industry is still the same. I actually love educating my clients, and that's been really big. Like, people don't even know how to brush their hair right. And
She told me, she goes, you had told me actually when I got, this wonderful hair done, she was like, I wonder if she's going to tell you to not put conditioner in your hair because it could mess with everything in here. And I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I could see that. But then even further, she was like, well, do you condition your hair? And I'm like, yes, of course I condition my hair. And she's like, what, do you do it on like the roots? And I'm like, yes, like all over. And she's like, you're not supposed to. Nobody has ever told me that. Ever. Nobody has ever told me that.
Yes.
Like they haven't, because if I don't wash my hair.
Cosmetologists or therapists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, 100%.
Yes. From start
Just
to
like
finish.
barbers, you go into a
Yes.
barber shop and
Yeah,
you
I
have
can
that
see that.
whole
Yeah.
vibe.
I always chop it up with my barber.
Yeah.
Shout out, Sean.
I think that's why I love the moms,
Yeah.
because moms forget about themselves. They sit in my chair and they talk. And I know it's because they've been talking to kids for the past 6, 7, 8 years.
It's like a human, yes.
And they
an
forget
adult.
about themselves, and they don't know how to take care of themselves anymore. Like, they forget how to put mascara on, or they forget how to wash their hair right. And that's why I love educating them and love spending time with the moms.
Yeah.
And they bring their kids, and then I have kids for the next
Right.
18 years.
So where is your salon at right now? Like, where is it? Where can people find you?
So I am in downtown Monument, 153 Washington Street.
North Women.
Suite 104, not 106.
Make sure you go to 104.
The shade.
The dark gray door.
Yeah.
The dark gray
The one
door.
with the big pretty sign.
Yes. The big pretty Corina sign.
Right.
Just follow the aura of the essence when you get in front of and go where your heart knows it needs to go. Is
Yes.
basically what they're saying.
yeah.
Yes.
So the transition in moving, how has that been for you? Because that's, I too, like you,
Excuse me.
my husband is from California. So it's a backstory with Karina and I is my husband.
Right, because I was just about to ask, like, how did y'all meet? Like, how did this start? Like, what's that?
So Nando is her cousin.
Right.
So that's how we met. You know, it was
Yeah.
just family, and I knew of Karina, and I think a handful of times when I would go to California, I met her. They really keep to themselves.
Yeah.
We stay away from the sinful family. Just kidding. No, I'm just playing. No, I love my family. I do.
But she's for real.
It's just different.
Yeah, I mean, different strokes, different folks.
Right.
And so I got to meet her a handful of times, but I like one of the other family members, I think that I've always respected her drive.
Right.
And so just seeing her and not knowing her, I always kind of watched her, her progression, what she would do, what she would post.
Right.
And it inspired me always, because anybody that's doing something
Yes.
inspires me. Like, it really does, and she was doing big things. Like, she
Right.
had, like she said, multiple salons. She had a team of people, and I was like, wow, this girl's really
She's hustling.
doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that always inspired me. And she'd come to Colorado, I think maybe once or twice, and we kind of hooked up there, here and there, and she said, I think I'm gonna move here, and I was like, wow, like,
Right.
and the reason why I asked that is because, like you as well, I told my husband, like, I'm never leaving Colorado. Like, that's not for me. I'm definitely not going to California. So this is my home. Yeah.
Don't ask.
You know, if we want to have like a vacation home somewhere or something like that, I might be, you know, willing to do something like that, but don't take me. Like, we'll travel a lot and we'll go see a lot of places, but this is my home. And I could never, and I still to this day cannot see myself leaving my home. So how is that transition just to uproot the family and come to a place where it's just like, oh, okay, brand new?
Honestly, that's just God changing your vision, changing like where you're focusing, because I was dead on. We are not moving. My husband has really bad allergies, and his doctor would tell him, you need to get out of California, you need to go somewhere else. And I would tell him, nope, you need to get some more medication, and you got to get over it. And I have these businesses.
In the name of Jesus.
I know, right?
Please heal him, because I'm not leaving.
His allergies are really bad. Like, he was just groggy throughout the day, and it was getting worse. We've been married 8 years. It was getting worse every year. And
Bakersfield is like the worst pollution, like, in the world.
We're
like, well, not in the world,
people
but
say we're in the armpit of California.
Yeah.
They're all
and you
the
can
crap.
see it, like, literally when you get there,
Go down the
there's a
grapevine.
haze, like it
Right,
is. It's a
right.
haze, and it's not fog.
Yeah.
It's pollution.
It's pollution.
Dirt.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it really was just a total change of heart. And I've traveled to a lot of states. I've been out of the country and never felt the way I felt coming here.
Yeah.
Just this peace.
Colorado has that effect.
It does. I told my husband, is it because of like the oxygen it's different here?
You're higher.
air.
And that you're high?
The
You know,
air.
everything feels like,
The air is better.
This feels so good up here.
I can breathe.
but getting up and moving was crazy. I felt like I was in a dream. My house getting emptied out, the house that we had said we would like build our lives in, selling my salon and my spa. I actually had I was stressed out about keeping the salon and the spa or getting rid of them, closing them down. And I had
This is a
dream.
very successful salon.
We're a 5-star salon and 5-star spa. Really great people that work there. Like half of the people there are educators in what they do. And so I had a dream that God was showing me, ask this person to buy your salon, ask this person to buy your spa. And I woke up and I told my husband, he's very literal, and like he's just like, it's just a dream, honey. So I went to these people and I told them, like, I want you to buy my salon. And my colleague Stacy, she said, absolutely. With no hesitation, she said, this is a 5-star salon.
She's been
It's
waiting
gonna
for
be
you
fine.
to ask her.
Right.
And I called my other colleague at my spa, Danelle, and I told her that I was leaving, and she was so sad. And I said, but I would like you to take over the spa. And she was like, oh. And
Wait, like, not like, oh, like,
Right.
oh, crap? Or like, oh,
no,
okay.
like she didn't know I was even going to ask her. She had no, there was no like, she's leaving, I could take over, nothing like that. And she said, let me think about it. She called me back immediately and she said, yes. I don't know why I even thought about it. Yes.
Right.
And that was the best feeling ever, but it was also the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And that was probably much more harder than emptying out my house and taking
That's your
all my
baby.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
But
Yeah.
I think it says something about yourself. Or, you know, I always talk to people about that. Like, for somebody to leave your home state that you've been, not even your home state, just somewhere you've been for a while and been successful in, and then you go to another state to kind of like start something new and, you know, to try and be successful in that same space. Because I did the same thing when I lived in Denver, going to school, just got out of the military, graduated, but my daughter lived in Seattle and Washington. I had built up a good network, had some job offerings. I could have stayed and been okay, but I chose to just go to Washington and kind of start over. But I feel like successful people, good people, like they can do that
Pick up and go.
Yeah.
anywhere. You know, it's I don't want to say easier, but
Can I ask you a question? Because I feel like everybody, when you give a piece of yourself away like that you go through a sense of like mourning. Did you go through that when you?
I did.
Yeah. How did you pull yourself out of that to be able to feed into something else?
Because there's other people that
Yeah.
are in your position right now where they're either teeter-tottering
Yes.
on making a move, or they are in the move and they're feeling, you know, a depression
Like, should
because
I
they
do
feel like,
this?
wait, was this the best decision?
Right.
You know, and so speak to them of how they can overcome.
You know, I am very tough and I'm a go-getter and I just get things done. And I didn't realize that I was mourning till one day the new salon owner, Stacy, I went over to her house and I started crying, and she told me, "You haven't mourned."
No,
Like,
you have
this is,
to.
I didn't even know that that was an emotion that I would be feeling, because I just thought, oh my gosh, all this new
Right.
energy and these new things. And I, so if I go through an emotion, I let myself completely feel it.
Right.
And I let myself swim in it for a minute,
Right.
because I have to feel those emotions. And then I immediately will start working, not immediately,
Right.
but I'll start
Just
getting
double
myself
check.
out of it.
Right.
So I mourned, and I was depressed for a minute, and I went through all those emotions, and then I got to take a deep breath. And I still do this with certain
course,
things,
yeah.
with friendships and with losing clients that I've had for 10 years.
Right.
But it was hard. It's been easier.
Right.
And I'm always looking to what the future is going to hold,
Right.
which is good things.
Right.
And even in the midst of like mourning, because we're still going to have terrible or bad things happen or sad things happen. I can get myself out of those things,
Right.
and just do it. Like,
Right.
what am I going? I'm not going to lose my marriage over it.
Right.
I'm not going to lose my family over it.
Right.
It's just, I'm going to lose some clients, but I'm going to gain some new clientele,
Yeah,
or I'm going to
yeah.
lose some customers.
And you put yourself out there. Like
Yeah.
that's, I
Yeah.
think that's one of the biggest takeaways that you can give to anybody, is no matter where you're at, it's a drive. It definitely
Yes.
is a drive. I
Can't
feel like
fight
you
it.
can't teach people drive. You can't teach
Yeah.
people hustle, because that's just something that's
Yes.
ingrained within us.
Yeah.
But you can give them tools to be able to say, do this, and do this. And one of those things is put yourself out there, because she did. Like, I was very like, she's out there. Like, she's
Right.
not even
And
here yet.
people were mean to me on Instagram, on Facebook, the Colorado groups that I'm in. Some people were telling me, "Oh, go back to California," and
And then I said that.
Welcome to Colorado.
and I would show my
The hate is
husband-
real here. It's real.
It's normal.
I would
starting to
show
learn this
my
is normal.
husband, and my husband is not on social media. He just doesn't like any of that. And he would say, "Oh, that's so mean." I would show him, but look what I responded. It
Right.
was just,
Right.
I'm very
Judging.
sarcastic, and I would just respond with sarcasm.
Yep.
Like, "You got to get used to me. Send
Yeah.
your wife. I'll sit in my chair. I'll give you a free haircut."
You'll regret this, but you'll come in and sit in my chair soon. It's fine. You can hate on
Yeah.
me. I'll fix that root for you, though.
Let me see your hair.
You sure you don't need some help?
Screenshot me.
Never had a hair wash from me.
You're gonna love
You
me.
gotta kill them with kindness sometimes. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But I love that. It sounds like that you took your morning and you took all of those things and you did a process of elimination and you fed that into what you're doing here.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
And
It's so
I
important.
miss my team.
Yeah.
I miss the people from my salon and my spa. I miss my employees. I miss my sister and my family. But there's so many good things here that there's no, oh, I should go back, or
Right.
no, it's not like that.
Right.
It's
And
I
it's
have-
always there. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's another
Right.
thing that you always just you have to realize is it's like
2-hour flight.
it's always there. It's always
Yeah.
there. It's not gone. It's just there.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just a little bit further away.
And the ripple effect you probably created by giving or selling the salon to the lady you
Yes.
mentioned, and
I
the
like
spa
that.
as well. And now it's like, I feel like they're gonna create, because of what you built
Yes.
and showed them, they're gonna give that and pass it along. So I like to look at it like that
Well,
too.
and the thing that I always love to point out too, and I do it in every podcast or try to connect the dots, is you have no idea God was preparing you
Yeah.
to be here. So he put those people in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah,
for
way
you.
ahead of time.
He
Isn't that
already
crazy?
knew.
Yeah.
Way ahead of
Way.
time.
Love me
He's-
that
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So I think it's beautiful. He was just taking you through those stepping stones to get you here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
Each one teach one.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so now I want to dive into your story a little bit, because
Yes.
I mean that is profound in itself on the business side of, your hustle and your drive, but you've gotten knocked down a few times in
Quite a
life.
few times.
So, what was one of the hardest knockdowns that you've kind of went through in your own personal journey?
In 2017, when I had my full team at the salon, business was going great, marriage was great. My husband and I got married in 2013. So 2013 to 2017, we had been trying to have a baby. And I had some health issues, I guess you could say. And my husband and I went to a fertility specialist because we wanted 10 children. You know, we wanted a bunch of kids, and found out that I had uterine cancer.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It was stage 3. It was pretty aggressive, and I had to get an emergency, well, not emergency, but I had to get a hysterectomy. And in between getting a hysterectomy and starting chemo, it was, do we save the eggs? Do we get rid of them? But we saved some of my eggs, and I went through chemo. It was the hardest time of my life, and radiation. So that was almost a year process going through that. And I thought I thought my world was ending at the beginning. I remember, you ever watching a movie when somebody's getting bad news and all they hear is like silence and then just one sound?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happens. It really is. You lose your hearing, you lose your vision, and you just hear one noise. And the doctor was in the chair telling me, you have cancer, you'll never be able to have kids, we got to do chemo, it's pretty aggressive, you got a large tumor. And my husband I could see my husband next to me when the doctor's telling us this. And I don't know what she's saying because I can't hear anything. And my husband, you just see him nodding, and you just see his shoulders dropping, and you just see like the life being sucked out of him. So we left the doctor's office, and I told him, what did she say? And he told me, you have cancer. So I told him, all right, well,
Right.
what do we do? And he was like, honey, you have cancer, like, take it in. And I was just like, nope, I'm strong.
Right.
Can't touch this. But we had to stop in the car, and we had to just cry.
Yeah.
So that's when I got knocked down. But it was also the best time, or the best part of my life also. The Bible talks about how whenever we're in mourning, or when things are just, when we're sad, we tend to reflect a lot more, and we tend to be thankful a lot more versus when life is going really well. And I think that was good for me. I was able to see God's mercy over my life, and I was able to appreciate every person in my life, and I was able to not get frustrated about the little things, and really even enjoy the small little frustrations in life. So I had my eggs removed, I had my tumor removed, and I went through chemo. And the salons, and this is why I love Bakersfield also, the salons that were around my salon, the owners would send people to help with my clientele, and they would still give me the money with whoever they worked on.
Wow.
Yeah. My team just really took over. They took care of my salon, and they were growing at the same time.
Did you stop working completely?
So I would have chemo, and then I would be sick for 10 days, and I would be good for 3 days before my next round of chemo. So for 3 days, I was able to go to work and work on a few people. I'd have my mask on, and my head was bald, and someone from a salon would send somebody to go assist me, and pretty much they would do everything. And sometimes I would just sit there while they worked on my clients, because my clients just wanted to see me, and I wanted to see them. And that was it. It's just so weird, like that happened. Even during that time, I had 2 girls in my salon that were part-time, and they said, we need to go full-time. We're going to have to find somewhere else to work. And then during that time is when I opened the spa, and that was
while you were going
going
through
chemo.
Wow.
Yeah, I got another location, and my family, they are badass. They painted the whole building. They got all the furniture put in, and that's when the spa was open in 2017.
Wow.
While I was going through chemo. But I think the person who took that the hardest was my husband. I knew he loved me.
Because your story is his story.
Yeah.
And his story is your story.
Yeah.
You know, when God makes us one flesh, it is one.
And I didn't really see things like that because I'm so independent. But man, he would sit next to me while I was, I guess, recovering after my treatments, because you're sick. Like, you're literally, your body's drinking poison, and it's trying to get rid of it. And he would just sit there next to me, and he would pray with me, and he would watch me. I know.
Love that. It's making me want to cry.
I know.
Stop already, Corinna.
Because a lot of men and I've heard this before that
No tears.
That's a lot
Yes.
for him to take on something like
Yeah.
that for you and to be your strength at the same time. And then I'm sure for you to feel like, man, I can't give you what you want. Like that. Whoo! Girl.
Yeah, that was a hard time, but I also saw the goodness in it and God moving in the little things. I remember a cleaning lady, who's my friend. Her name's Anita. She didn't charge us for house cleaning the whole time I was going through chemo and radiation.
Wow.
And my sister would come and she would wash the clothes because my husband was trying to go to work and he couldn't concentrate. He would have to come home and check if I was breathing because your body goes into
Shock.
like hibernation pretty much. Your breathing slows down. You're just on the bed.
Chemo breaks everything down.
Yeah.
Like it kills what's necessary, but it breaks everything down.
He was new at his job, and his boss would tell him, if you got to go home, we're still going to pay you full time.
Wow.
Your family comes first. Like, things like that. We weren't without. Bills did come up, and a fundraiser was made, and things were paid. There was no need. We didn't need anything. We had everything supplied, and I saw God moving then and there when I felt like, why did you let me have cancer? You know, that mentality, it wasn't even there. It was, thank you that even through the midst of me being really sick, I still see you providing. You're still there. And even with seeing my husband, that, he does love me. Because my husband is super sweet. But when you guys are going through trials, that's when you really see the love that they have for you.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like this, you going through that kind of also showed how much you mean to other people and how much you are loved and valued. That's what I was kind of tapping into.
Yeah. That's true.
It's a blessing.
Wow.
It's a blessing. Holy cow.
So how long have you been without? You're cancer free.
Oh, so this is year 4, cancer free.
That is a blessing.
Yeah.
Where's a bell?
I know. I know. It's the best feeling ever. Yes. I remember my last chemo treatment. It was December 18th. And I told my husband, I have to be awake and alive and better by Christmas Day. So Christmas is super special to me because I knew 18 days, that means 10 days I'm going to be sick. The 28th, I'm going to miss Christmas. And my husband said, no, we're going to get you better. And I told him, we have to be better by Christmas Day. It's going to be at our house. Right. And I was better by Christmas Day. And that was the best feeling ever, being able to be with my family and my nieces and nephews and them rubbing my bald head. But it was really amazing. I remember going to UCLA and getting my last scan results and them saying, there are no traces of cancer.
What was that moment like?
So when she told my husband and I, we were just like, okay, awesome. Right. And that was it. We went to the car and we started driving and we both just started bawling at the same time on our way back to Bakersfield. Like it hadn't settled in yet, but it's the best feeling. You feel free. You feel like you're not in this bubble of fear. There's this liberation of it's not killing me anymore. I'm okay now. And obviously with chemo, they say chemo is they want it to kill the cancer before it kills you because it's so potent. There are a lot of side effects that I had after that, but it doesn't even matter. Like I can just live my life good now and just be more appreciative of it. So
that's powerful.
Well, and the strength that whole situation gave you, like nothing's impossible at this point.
Oh yeah. And I tell people, I have no fear. I do not fear death. I know people who fear dying. I don't fear it anymore. It's everything is after this life is our future glory. And that's it. Like
this is temporary.
Yes, this is all temporary. And there's no need to get mad about things the way that we used to. You can appreciate people even if they're just temporarily in your life. Yes. And even these business moves, I don't fear of it even failing because I know everything is going to guide me and lead me somewhere else. Yes. And enough for me.
Yeah.
So.
Part of the journey.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Right?
Oh, that was a good nugget. Woo!
Yeah. I wanted to ask, so when going through chemotherapy, you talked about being bald. And as a cosmetologist,
Yes.
how did that affect you? Like, how did that, like, internally? And also, again, anytime that we ask for nuggets, Corina, we ask because somebody's going through it.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hear about it. And even if it's not a cosmetologist, but as a woman, you know, we identify our hair with so much, you know, just like our breasts and like anything else is like, this is woman. This is what makes me woman. How did you?
Well, I have to tell you guys about when I first started losing my hair. That was, so I love my hair. I have naturally curly hair. I have a lot of hair and I can style it any way that I want. And my hair has been my pride. When I did my first round of chemo, I remember saying, I'm not going to lose my hair because I just felt like I was that strong. And I remember watching TV in the living room with my youngest brother, Marcos. And I, you know, when you're watching a movie or you know, just twirling your hair, right?
Yeah.
And I had these chunks come out and I just felt like my stomach dropped. And I told my brother, it's happening. I'm going to lose my hair. And I remember pulling my eyebrow hair out. And an old colleague of mine, I asked him to shave my head. And he said, well, I'm going to just shave it like a pixie cut, just super short. And we're sort of crying a little bit because I know what's coming. So I told him, well, I'm going to pull a piece in the front out. And if it comes out all the way, then we're just going to shave it. And I remember grabbing like just a chunk of it and it just came out like nothing. And he and I started crying and he was shaving my head and I'm bawling and bawling.
Ugh.
But as soon as he was done, I felt free. And I felt like this freedom that I had never felt before. And there's a movie about this black lady. I don't remember what it's called.
It's on Netflix.
I know what
Yes.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's with the girl that's on Love and Basketball, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out what that movie is.
Yeah.
But I
Love her.
remember watching that just a few years after I went through chemo. And I knew exactly how she felt. She was crying because she had treasured her hair, this worldly thing, and treasured it so much that when she had her hair fried, she was angry and she felt so ugly. But she felt free after and she learned to love herself. So I'm bald and my makeup is going to be different. I had to draw my brows on. I had no lashes on, so I had to wear eyeliner. And I remember going to a wig store with my sister and we're trying on wigs and I just hated it. Your follicles are very sensitive when you're going through chemo. So everything, you're just super sensitive to everything. And so I was burning up. I was also going through menopause because of the hysterectomy.
Wow.
And I told her, no wigs. I am going to embrace being bald. And there were times, I will tell you, there were times that I felt so ugly and I felt just gross, especially when you want to be intimate with your spouse. I wouldn't let my husband touch my scalp and he wanted to touch my head. And he would tell me like, you're beautiful. And that was hard. That was so hard.
I love Sean.
Yeah.
Like, this makes me love Sean even
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Like, hearing the way that you speak about this man, because like, when I met Sean and I don't know Sean from anybody. And so shout out Sean.
Yes.
Like, you are an amazing man.
I know he was around, but I didn't know that. I'm giving him a hug.
That's amazing.
And I loved I think he's a very intellectual man. I think his conversation is really great.
Yeah.
And everybody would joke like, you know, oh, Sean, like, you know.
So annoying.
He's so annoying. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, I love Sean. Like, I think he's just a great guy. But this is like, wow. Dude,
Yeah.
it makes me appreciate him for the man he is to you, the husband that he is to you, even more.
He's amazing. So I struggled in that area though, just not letting him touch my head or even wanting him to see me. When you're going through chemo and you're naked, you have no hair top to bottom. And I felt like when my brother would call me Caillou and I felt like Caillou and my husband. What the hell? I know. I got to show you a picture.
What? Oh my God! I would smack him.
But my husband would look at me the same way he looked at me when we were newlyweds. And that's the best feeling ever. Like, you need that. But even in that, I grew confident, and I'm able to say, it doesn't matter what your hair, how long or short it is. It doesn't matter how long your lashes are. You are beautiful. You just are beautiful. And so that's what I learned. I learned that it doesn't matter how my hair looks anymore. I mean, we don't want you looking all raggedy, right? Whatever you have, you need to take care of it.
Is beautiful, yes.
And so that's what I have to say.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. There's a few girls I know that maybe need to lose their hair.
Hello.
And learn their inner beauty.
What?
And you know what? Going through that, I do not allow my clients to speak negatively about themselves. If they sit in my chair, I would have moms say, "Ugh." You know, when you sit down in a salon chair, you see that double chin, or you're like, "Am I really that ugly?"
I was doing that today. I was like, oh, like, am I seeing like, oh my God.
So I don't allow that. I will tell them, okay, now you got to tell me something positive about yourself. And women struggle saying something positive about themselves. Yes. I used to struggle saying something positive about myself, but going through what I went through, man, everyone is beautiful. And I can look at people who people say are ugly, and I can say a few things that I love about them. And I will tell people out in the streets, and my husband will sometimes be like, "Hi, honey," like they don't know you. But I would tell them, "Oh my gosh, your lashes are beautiful. I love your smile," or "I love your hair. I love your outfit today," because I know what it feels like to feel ugly and to not feel enough, and to feel like something in you is broken or something in you is messed up. And people need to hear that. People need that encouragement of how we are, right?
You never know. You never know what somebody needs from a complete stranger.
Yeah.
You never know.
I think that's such a powerful exercise because in my industry as well, and it's funny because I'll say things, you know what I mean? And she teases me all the time. They'll tease me upstairs. They're like, you sit there and you preach this, but you're not following what it is that you preach, because you'll say something. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm joking. And then she's like, no, you don't get to do that. And I'll do the same thing. I'll tell my girls I'll make them do push-ups if they say something negative about themselves. Okay, well then get down and give me 10 push-ups, and the next time that you say it, you're going to give me 20, and they're like, oh, okay, better stop, But I think that it's absolutely right that, and I don't know if it's true for men as it is for women, that we do very much struggle with complimenting ourselves, because it can be perceived as, conceited. Yes. It can be perceived as, oh, she's so stuck up, or this and this and that. But it's what, Demi Lovato said it best, is what's wrong with a little bit of confidence. Yeah. And it's about receiving, like, knowing, like, your strengths and being okay with saying, I am powerful. I am, that the affirmation I am is huge. Mm-hmm. And I remember Raina coming down one time. We had a little study, and it was a group of women that were with us, and she didn't know anybody from anybody inside of the group. And we were all sitting in a circle. And so she made us, at the end of this study, say something to somebody else first, and not even knowing them, and give them, a compliment. Mm-hmm. And then you had to say something about yourself. Ooh. And also say, and this is, this. And it was easy for somebody to give somebody else a compliment. Mm-hmm. But then when it was your time to say something about you, it was difficult. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that is such a crazy exercise, because it's mirror work. Yes. We need to be okay with telling ourselves that, we are beautiful, that we have to, it's a daily reminder. All of those things that we see, those negative attributes that we see, somebody else will see as beautiful. Yeah. And I'll say this all the time, that's why I love being a photographer, is because I want to show you what I see through my lens, which you may not see, Yeah.
And we get to see it as, it's like magic every single time it happens. Yeah. Like, these women come in and watch these videos. Like, Cinnamon was the last one that resonated with me the most. And she was just like, I'm beautiful. Yeah. This woman has lost her husband. Yeah. She's gone through so many changes. She's going through it with her kids. And she didn't think she was beautiful. And she's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm looking at her like, girl, what are you talking about? But she's seen it when she's seen the pictures. And she was just like, wow. She was like, thank you. Yeah.
The same thing when clients sit in my chair, and I'll bring it back to the moms. They talk so poorly about themselves because their bodies change. They gain some weight, or they had a baby, they lose hair, or a lot of times pregnancies change your skin color. You know, you get patches on your face or things like that. And it's my job to bring out the things that they already have, or to just even make them look better. And I love when they sit in my chair and they're confident in my work and they say, just do your thing. Yeah. Do what you got to do. Yeah. And I'm able to bring out their beautiful cheekbones or their beautiful lips or their beautiful nose. I love your nose. I love it. So things that are just very dominant, right?
Yes.
But I will say, I tell moms, everything that you say about yourself, and if you have daughters, they're going to hate it about themselves. Yeah. And I have a mom.
I love that.
Who sits in my chair. And
not that I love that the daughters, but I'm saying I love where you're going with it.
Yes.
I have a mom who is always saying how she doesn't think she's pretty and she's got wrinkles and she's got all this. And I tell her, do you think your daughter's beautiful? Oh, yes, she's gorgeous. She looks just like you. Yeah. Just like you. And I say this to moms all the time. Like, do you think your kids are gorgeous? Do you think they're beautiful and smart? Yes. They're just like you.
That's a product of you.
Just like you. They're just as beautiful as you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what we say, though, our kids hear it.
Yes.
Our nieces and nephews hear it. You have to love who you are and project that. Right. My nieces and nephews will never hear me say, oh, your tia looks so ugly today. Right. I tell them, I'm cute, huh? And they say, yeah, you're cute. I'm beautiful, huh? Yes. Yeah. Your tia's funny, huh? Yes, you are. I will always tell them that. And the moment I hear them say anything like I'm fat or whatever, I tell them, no, you're not. You're cute. So those are the things that we have to do. That's your job, is to make people look and feel beautiful, because they already are. You're just bringing that out.
There was another something that I saw somewhere, and it was along the lines of when a woman was speaking about herself, and it was a constant just, I'm not this, I don't have this, I'm not good enough, and just these things that we speak throughout our life. Mm-hmm. And in this interview, she goes and she puts a picture of her daughter in front of her. She said, now tell her that. Mm. You tell her that, the things that you're telling her. Mm-hmm. And why is it okay for you to say those things to yourself? Because you have a little girl living within you that you're speaking to. So tell her that. And she was like, no, I won't. Right. Then why would you tell yourself those things, And so
I like that topic that you brought up, though. And I'm curious to know. So do men do this? Do men critique themselves? Yeah. And be real and raw, because that's what we're doing here.
I think men maybe hype themselves up a little too much.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Like you're getting ready in the morning, you're like, damn, I look good.
If you got, you got your meatheads or people that in the gym, they might see somebody skinny. Hey, get your weight up. You need to get your weight up, young man. So I think men should actually stop, just hype it down a little bit. Right. I feel like there's this ego. I'm the outlier, okay? I feel like I live in this other level of consciousness, but I'm conscious of all of that, like all of the egos and people who maybe aren't very self-esteem issues, that kind of thing. So I try to be considerate of all of that. I personally don't, unless I'm on a stage and I'm being funny, but I personally don't like to, hey man, check this out in the gym, boy. Get your weight out loud. You little. Do some push-ups. I don't get it.
But I feel like for men too, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like men's egos are different than women's.
I agree, and I'm also starting to see it's more of like a self-defense mechanism where
men can't survive without an ego. Yes. Because your confidence stems from your ego.
If you don't know how to control it, but I think the more a male is like, his ego is, the more he truly insecure he is. Okay. So I feel like it's a front most of the time, but for some reason, especially being in this comedy world, you're around it's very competitive, and the ego's just from the men, it's just too much sometimes.
It fills a room.
Can I say too, not just for married people, but my mom would always tell us, you have the power to lift your spouse up and bring them down. Yes. And I think that we really do have the power to make you feel more confident or bring you down.
Lea gets on me about this all the time because I come with a negative love. I mean it with love.
Back it up. So Whitney, W-H-I-T-N-E-Y, she has... I love that I get to see Whitney on a personal level where these men don't. Yeah. And so all they know of Whitney is that she comes at them. And I'm like, you're so mean. Like, I tell her that all the time. You are so mean. Like, why are you so mean? And she thinks it's funny. And she's like, because she'll call him like, yeah, you big dummy. Or, and I'm just like, stop doing that. Like, and they're
like, you're dummy. Get out of my face.
Jessica tendency. I still ain't forgot.
But I mean it with the deepest amount of love because I'm a big dummy. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying that if I don't, and I'm starting to see it and understand it from a different light, that if you're speaking ugly, regardless of where it's coming from, the way that it sounds, you don't realize the effect that it may have on other people. And I'm just expecting them to know, oh, I mean this with the most amount of love. Most people don't until they get to know me. And they're like, well, you were calling me a dummy for like 3 weeks.
Be a little...
And that's with every relationship, because I learned that with my daughter.
He does that a lot.
Yeah. We got to work on some things, Whitney. But no, I had my daughter for this past week. She left on Monday. She lives in Seattle. She's 14, full-blown teenager. And I want to say, Sunday, we were driving home from somewhere, and she goes, hey, Dad, we're talking about the summer, because the next time I'll see her will be in July. And I get her for 3 weeks. Last summer, we did it, 3 weeks in a row. And she's telling me like, yeah, Dad, so just for sake of my social life. And she's talking about, the summer. I cut her off immediately because I'm thinking she's getting ready. She's talking about eliminating or shortening it up. I'm like, heck no. This, da, 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 da. And then the next day we had a conversation with my mom was in the kitchen and it got brought up again. And then she goes, well, Dad, I wasn't trying to eliminate days. I was simply trying to talk about potentially spreading it, around. And I was like, see, I'm learning. What I said to my daughter was like, see, we have to learn how to communicate with one another, because I was like, McKenna, for me, that was a trigger, and I just immediately jumped in. But I'm like, how dumb I am. So you got to be smarter than me and figure out the best way to maybe get what you want, but like learn how to say it to me. Like maybe
you need to learn how to listen.
Or
hello.
That
Open
that
up
too,
your ears a
but
little
also learning how you speak to your spouse, or like if you want to be blunt with him, you can't be that blunt, but there's a way to still get your message across to him by leaning in.
Communicate differently.
Hey, Dad, just off the rip. I'm not eliminating anytime off the rip. But I was thinking, and now, okay, I'm ready to listen now.
Yeah. One of the hardest skills to learn is to listen.
Yes.
Because everybody knows that we are hearing to respond. Yes. So we hear to respond immediately. And so what we hear is like, okay, I'm going to respond to this. And so we stop listening. I'm not going to listen to what you have to say. I'm already kind of shut down because I'm ready to respond. Right. And so it's a skill to learn how to listen to people. And I'll give a shout out to Dana. One of the first things that he told me in the podcast is he said, always be curious. And I love that, because he said, stay curious. Mm-hmm. Stay wondering about somebody's story, about what they have to say because you're going to learn so much about them when they speak, and another thing I talked to Nando about, because Nando's a big talker. Like, he will talk and talk and talk and talk. And I'm like, and I told him, and sometimes for people, like, it can be either annoying or they're just like, oh, like they want to hurry up. Like, okay, there's Nando. Like, let me dodge.
It's too much.
Like, I don't want to have this conversation right now, And I've heard it. Like, that's my husband. I love him. Like, he has great conversation, but sometimes it's too much. You got to allow people to speak. It's not just about you. And I said, always try to, when you're speaking, listen to how many times you say I and me.
Yes.
I and me. I and me. I this and I that and I this. And it's not in a conceited form. It's just the fact that let them speak about them, and hear their story as well. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent from where we were, but listening is, I think, a really important skill. It's a very difficult skill to listen to. And I think this is teaching me. I heard just today Denzel Washington say, I got up this morning and I prayed to God to have him help me listen better. He goes, it didn't work.
And that's okay.
But I tried.
How many years have you been married?
20.
And you're still learning.
Yes.
And that's what it is.
Yes.
We're still learning.
Always.
We're constantly changing. I feel like post chemo, because of me seeing how amazing my husband really is, I'm doing a lot of, honey, I'm sorry for saying that. Honey, I'm sorry for There's
it's
a lot
making
of
you check yourself a little bit more. Yeah.
And a lot of repenting. I'm sorry for treating you that way. The person who loves me the most besides God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're a bad girl, Corina.
I know.
But that's a blessing because some people aren't capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And I think
I wasn't. I wasn't capable of doing that at the beginning.
Yeah. It's hard. That's
and my
really
husband
hard.
talks a lot. He talks a lot. And I know what he's going to say because I know him. And I'll tell him, I already know what you're going to say. Well, just let me finish. No, I don't want to hear it. Like that's, and then I have to take a step back and I have to shut up and listen.
That's why he talks so much.
He talks so much. You
He never gets to talk at home.
Yeah.
Silence.
I do have a question for you, Trent, though, because I feel like this brought up a good scenario that I
for you,
feel like
Trent.
I just know the face he has on it.
it's not bad,
Can
but
you
I
picture him as a little boy, like in class?
I think it would be nice for us to kind of, especially us being all women and us being all daughters, what perspective you have on this when we were talking a little bit shortly a while ago about, just making sure that we're speaking to our children a certain type of way and the stuff that women go through. How do you, or have you ever been in a situation where you've had to check your daughter? And from a male's perspective, I feel like it's super important because I didn't have my dad when I was growing up around like teenage years. And I feel like that's why I sought out certain things in other men because I wasn't receiving it from my dad, which we've talked about before. So I just want your experience on that. I know you don't get to see her, as often as you want to, but have you ever had to?
Oh, yeah. It's difficult, especially in today's world, because of just how we're parenting our children. It's different.
And don't let me forget, because I want to touch base on this. It's difficult portion for you because you don't get to see your daughter all the time.
So I'm playing a different.
You want to be the good guy a lot of times.
I'm not the everyday parent. All my time is limited, so I'll have to play that quality over quantity.
Right.
So I can't just chastise and get on my daughter the whole time of the trip. Otherwise, she's going to hate spending time with me. But there was a time when I was getting her every other weekend when I was still living in Seattle. But I could remember there was a time I had her on a Saturday and she didn't bring her toothbrush. And now I could always have her set up there, yada, yada, but it was meant, hey, you bring your toothbrush, yada, yada. So I was okay, McKenna, there's a grocery store right by my apartment. I'm going to go run. Go get you one with me. Come back, be ready because we're getting ready to do all this stuff today. Okay. And I come, run back. I was gone for 10 minutes. I come back. She's putting these biscuits into the oven. And I'm like, what are you doing? I just told you I'm getting your toothbrush. You brushing your teeth and we on the road. We getting something on the road. And I went over there. I grabbed the biscuits and I booty bumped her, checked her out the way, slammed it up. And the door, and I was like, go get dressed. Right. And then we were in, and then she said something, had a little tube behind that, and that triggered me. So I'm raising my voice at her now.
Right.
And now we're in the car, and she's crying and boo-hooing and all of this stuff. So it's oh, great. So now I feel, now we're not going to have a good time. And she's and then she goes, well, Dad, I don't do. She says, she was in the 7th grade at this time. And she goes, I don't do physical as far as responding. So, and I was like, oh, so it put me in this other position of oh, I'm a male man. And now it's this conversation of being physical, with a female. And I literally just kind of, checked her out the way. So I had to dial that all back. So now it's this whole thing about communication now where it's okay, well, if you feel a certain way, then you need to use your words.
Right.
And let me know. And then if I feel a certain way, I'll use my words. And I always try to, I don't really scream at my daughter anymore. I definitely have. One time she said she's still in the 7th grade. She wanted her friend to stay the weekend with us stay the night. Right. And how I move, especially when you have another teenage girl, I'm a single male living in my house.
Right.
I wouldn't be comfortable with my daughter spending the night somewhere in that situation.
It's a different perspective. Right? I haven't thought about that.
Because I'm conscious of everything with females and making them feel comfortable, uncomfortable, all of that. But my daughter, so I was like, but my rule. I need to speak to that girl's mom and let them know, make sure everything's good. And
right.
So she knows her daughter's safe. And apparently this friend is really good. My daughter's mom was really good friends with this girl's mom. So they're it's fine. To me, no, it's not fine.
Yeah.
So a whole week went by And I told McKenna that I texted her. I was like, hey, when I pick you up, and if that little girl gets in my car, I'm telling you, I'm taking her right. That's not happening.
Right.
So I pick my daughter up, my daughter's mom. I see my daughter get out, and I see this girl come out. I'm like, oh my God.
She's not listening
She's not listening to me. So I embarrassed my daughter in front of her friend. Like as soon as she got in, I was like, McKenna, what are you doing? And I kind of came at her maybe a little too hard, you know, and realized what I did. And then after, I didn't realize what I had done until after her friend got out the car.
Right.
And I was like, you know, because I went extra. I played this song that was like, I forget what song it was. But it was like, you know, on some like, don't, you know, disrespect, like R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And I'm singing it along. Sock it to me.
I cannot.
And then with her friend in the car, like, your dad is insane.
Violent.
And then I had to kind of dial. This is 3 years ago.
Oh, I bet you she ain't never gonna forget that.
So, but for me and being a male too, it's like I have to start being really careful about how I respond when I'm either angry or disappointed in my in my daughter. Because
well, your kids hear you, but then she's also going to justify that that's what she needs.
Yes, and I don't want that to happen. Ooh. Like I've even this week, I even had to compartmentalize a bunch of things that she was doing, maybe tones that was triggering me, but I'm like, I'll respond differently, and eventually she'll get to this place of like, well, maybe I am being a little bitchy to my dad for no reason. Kind of like what you said with your husband, how you realized, like, you know, so I have to let her take that, you know, figure that out. But it's, again, I'm not an everyday parent, so I'm playing a different game than these everyday parents in the trenches all the time, like you, you know.
Well, I want to, we're our time is come to a close, and I want to just kind of close up with this. And based on your story, everything that you told us, first and foremost, thank you for sharing all of that.
Right, I feel like we didn't get enough time with her.
There's always a part 2 to everybody's story. There's always a part 2.
Well, you live here now, so you don't have a choice. You have to come back.
Yes. So thank you for sharing that. And what I would ask you is just to give our listeners one tip, whether it's business, personal, whether it's anything that you've kind of gone through, something that you would want to just kind of share with somebody that may not know something about you.
Something that I just enjoy life. Yeah. And you're beautiful the way that God made you. And we have makeup and Botox and pedicures and stylists and photographers that pump everything up. Yeah. But don't just rely on that. Enjoy life. You just don't know what your next journey is. So enjoy the moment and tell your kids that they're beautiful.
I love that. Oh, this was a good one.
Super good. I want to end with the scripture. And I always try. I asked. She loves the whole Bible. She said so. There's still scripture.
I don't have one. The whole Bible is my life scripture.
This is the whole thing, and I get it. But I'm gonna go ahead and end with this scripture. It's in the book of, if I'm saying this right, Habakkuk. It says, "Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth. For the vision is yet for an appointed time." So that's one of my favorites, is just, to write things down, take a picture. I don't give a... No. I know. Real, raw, and authentic.
Hello.
Bye. Can you guys hear it?
No. I was getting ready to cut up. There, I hear it now. Oh. Yes. Up. I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
I can't.
This is going to be the first time I'm on beat. There we go.